Why coffee is bad for you. Is coffee good or bad for you? There are several things that happen when I drink coffee. I start putting on weight, my blood pressure increases, my cholesterol shoots up, I become jittery, can't sleep, and something terrible starts happening to my brain. Yet, the health professionals out there would have you believe that coffee is a healthy drink and that you increase your health by drinking it. I seem to recall the same story about cigarettes. Coffee oils increase cholesterol. When my cholesterol has periodically shot over a healthy level, I have repeatedly noticed that simply abstaining from coffee and tea lowers it without any other changes to my diet. When I started researching it, I discovered that there are coffee oils, and it is these coffee oils that are responsible for the hike in cholesterol. However, it depends on how you brew the coffee as to whether it retains the oils or not. Instant coffee doesn't have any coffee oils. According to Dr. David Moore, a professor of molecular and cellular biology at PCM, K-Festol, one of the coffee oils, is the most potent cholesterol-elevating agent known. Rise in blood pressure. My blood pressure has averaged a healthy 110/85 for years. Yet the moment I have a cup of coffee before I get to the doctor's office, it will spike to something like 129/. I eventually asked a doctor about this, and he said that coffee did spike blood pressure. Loss of sleep. Caffeine can take some 14 hours to leave your system. So if you have a cup of coffee at 10 in the morning, then the effects will only leave your system at 12 midnight. Coffee causes anxiety. Caffeine causes the body to produce more cortisol, the stress hormone. And as we all know, the more cortisol we produce, the more tummy fat we produce. So there's your relationship between weight gain and coffee, and it has nothing to do with sugar and milk. However, the bottom line is that coffee causes anxiety. Not only does caffeine increasing stress hormones like cortisol, but it also decreases calming neurotransmitters and reduces blood flow to the brain. I can confirm the fact that my brain does not work so well on coffee. In 1995, I did the same test for 2 different companies a week apart. In the first test, I had prepared myself by eating only greens with no coffee, tea, alcohol, or anything else. I scored very well. In the second test, perhaps a little cocksure of myself, I drank coffee about half an hour before I wrote the test. I failed. Everything else was the same. My brain just couldn't work out the issues. Coffee increases weight. Some 20 years ago, I went to a naturopath. He put me on a particular diet, and I was losing 15 pounds a week. He forbade me to have any coffee or tea. On week 4, I got a little bored and had 2 or 3 cups of tea. I only lost 7 pounds that week. His first question was, "Did you have coffee or tea?" I have repeatedly experimented with weight loss and gain since then. Over and over I find that if I drink coffee or tea, even if it's black with no sugar, the weight loss is much slower. Coffee depletes vital nutrients in the body, just as gluten prevents the body from absorbing calcium in some people. So caffeine prevents some nutrients from being absorbed. Caffeine interferes with the absorption of both magnesium and vitamin B, as both magnesium and the various B vitamins have a lot to do with being calm and stress-free. Drinking coffee is self-defeating. Caffeine also interferes with the osteoblasts, which produces strong bones. So it's a factor in osteoporosis. Decaffeinated coffee, by the way, still contains caffeine, the same amount that black and green tea, plus it contains the residual elements of the chemicals used to remove most of the caffeine. For people who are sensitive to coffee, decaffeinated or not, coffee still gives the jitters. Coffee gives you bad breath, coffee dries out your mouth and body, and this, in turn, produces the bad breath. This is because the mucosal cells in your mouth aren't washed away once they die, they only live for 3 days. Coffee contains thousands of ingredients, not just caffeine. Coffee ingredients include chlorogenic acids, caffeol, polyphenols, phytoestrogens and diterpenes. All of these have both positive and negative effects on the human body. Insufficient studies have been done on those substances as caffeine has been predominantly studied. However, recently, with the realization that some effects happened regardless of whether coffee was caffeinated or decaffeinated, there is increasing interest in the other components of coffee. Heartburn and stomachache, for instance, can be caused by caffeine, catechol and various other chemical substances in coffee. Coffee is known to relax lower esophageal sphincter, which allows the stomach contents and hydrochloric acid to be released into your esophagus. The general acidity of coffee is also responsible for aggravating conditions for those with ulcers, gastritis, IBS and Crohn's disease. Acrylamide in roasted coffee beans is a carcinogen. In 2010, the Council for Education and Research on Toxics, CERT, sued Starbucks, 7-Eleven, BP America, BP Products, BP West Coast Products, and Gloria Jean's Gourmet Coffees for not warning their clients that acrylamide in roasted coffee beans was a carcinogen. On the 28th of March, 2018, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Elihu Burl sided with CERT and instructed coffee-selling companies to provide their clients with a warning of the cancerous effects of acrylamide. The counter-argument by coffee companies maintained that the health benefits of coffee outweighed the risk of cancer. The judge was not in agreement. Naturally, the CEO of the National Coffee Association disagreed. Coffee has been shown, over and over again, to be a healthy beverage. This lawsuit has made a mockery of Prop 65, has confused consumers, and does nothing to improve public health. The more bitter and the darker a coffee is, the higher the acrylamide content. It is a byproduct of roasting coffee at a high heat. Coffee withdrawal. In a study, Johns Hopkins University, testing caffeine on the performance of athletes, it was found that caffeine increased the ability of those who were suffering the effects of caffeine withdrawal but did nothing for those athletes who were not suffering from caffeine withdrawal. Essentially, when we begin to withdraw from the stimulus of coffee, we need another cup in order to feel better. This is addiction.